Hello, I'm Liz Lumley of Finextra, and we're here at the Natcha Payments Innovation Alliance in Barcelona. And today I'm speaking to Nasser Saleh of Matfuat.com. Thank you very much. Now, you guys are a startup, a payment startup from Jordan. So I wanted to hear a little bit about your story. I mean, how you got sort of the banks and financial institutions and telcos to work together.
Hi. Yeah, actually, like you said, my name is Nasser Saleh. I started in Jordan. In Jordan and the Middle East in general, we have a cash payment society, so people like to pay in cash. So my story started in 2008 after working for many years outside of Jordan. So I was used to the e-payments culture, let's say. When I went back to my country, I was faced with paying my first electricity bill, and it was a horrible experience. I had to wait in a long queue, and then they did not accept having a credit card, so I had to go back and take money from my ATM and come back again to the same queue. So I started thinking, why we are still paying in cash, how we can solve this. And from 2008 till 2011, I was doing researches and trying to find somebody to help me in starting up my business, till I found a new incubator in Jordan called Oasis 500. I was lucky to find them. I started with them, and it was a tough journey, but it was very interesting journey. So I built a state-of-the-art solution to connect banks with merchants and billers, so that people can, from their banks, they like banks and they trust banks, they can see all their bills and pay it online real time. But also it was not an easy task. It took me a couple of years to convince the first two banks, and in parallel I went to the central bank. I said it's the best place to go to an organization, governmental organization that can really convince all banks. I was lucky to convince them, and 2 years later we won the central bank project to become the national electronic bill presentment and payment service. We went live last year, and lucky now we have 92% of the banks connected to our service, and many telecom companies, government agencies. So it was a good journey now, shifting the culture from cash payments to e-payments.
I mean, that story about getting different entities to work together, I think, is a very common one around the globe. But what are some of the challenges that were unique to Jordan and the region when you started out?
For startups, and for in my case also, the main challenge really is access to cash. We have very good resources now for seed funding, but after you build the model and you want to grow and start, becoming a company, you need more money, a VC money. Let's say we have a good gap, a big gap from seed funding till, growth stage funding. This is one of the challenges. The second challenge is working with startups, both from a resources point of view. People, they don't like to work with startups, and also governments and large corporates, they're afraid to work with with startups. Luckily, things are changing now, especially after not only Matfuat, for my case. I have very good also success stories in Jordan, that startups that worked with corporates and proved themselves, and now the culture is changing. They started to trust startups.
So you mentioned that you found an incubator to work with in Jordan. I mean, what is the sort of tech space, startup space like in the Middle East for entrepreneurs?
Nowadays, it's very good, very positive compared to a few years ago. It was really tough. Now we have a lot of incubators, accelerators. Even the telecom companies in Jordan are establishing an incubator, which is good. We have like Oasis 500s, iPark. All telecom companies, they have incubators, and not only in Jordan. The good thing in the region, even itself, in Dubai, in Saudi Arabia, in Egypt, in Lebanon, I start to hear more and more about new accelerators every few months. So I think now we started to have a good ecosystem. It's not perfect yet, but the good thing, it's every month we have increase of number of accelerators, and the ecosystem is becoming more and more positive.